What's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is not JC this week. As you can see, we have somebody different here, a backcracker perhaps. He's the opposite of me in every single way. As you can see, the backcracker is in the house, folks.
I have to thank you immensely for the work that you do, because JC has to carry this show and your ass week in and week out. He has to keep coming to my office. I have to keep fixing him, which then puts money in my pocket. So thank you, Nestle, for helping me pay my mortgage.
No problem, because honestly, you know what? If I can put food on your table, that's what it's all about.
Damn right it is.
So anyway, we have what does it say? Joe right off the bat. Pollock says, "I have no words." There it is. So for those of you who are listening, because apparently Twitter is a fucking asshole now, and we can't go live on Twitter unless we pay for it, which is ridiculous. If you don't see him right now, he is wearing a blue suit jacket to my red suit jacket. He was wearing his headphones a little above his eyes, just like somebody else, and a ball cap and a red shirt. So he is full Nestle on this episode, except doing it a little bit worse.
I would say better, but
you're also wearing sunglasses because you're wearing a little JC in you too, so it's fine. It's fine. Hey, trying to be a little bit of everybody.
Someone's got to bring a little flavor, to this podcast.
Anyway, we always start somewhere. We start in the shine. So, Joe, since you are the guest and you are continuously up my ass and making fun of me, I will let you go first.
Oh, well, where do we begin? I felt like there was a lot of shine this week. I enjoyed both SmackDown and Raw, but we'll start with a tweet that you had last night that I commented on, and then I messaged you on the side and said, I had the same exact, I wrote down in my notes, Gunther, awesome. This might be the best that Damian Priest has looked as a champion. That match, that whole interaction to kind of kick things off was tremendous. And I wrote down in my notes, no talkie, all attacky. And that's what Damian Priest should be, right? He is, I think, a great character. I think he's a great wrestler, but I don't think he's been a great champion. Gunther's going to be an absolute tremendous one once he wins at SummerSlam. But I thought this was probably, unfortunately for him, the best he's looked during his reign, because it will be coming to an end soon.
I echo everything that you said there. I thought it was definitely a great showing for him. Isn't it sad that we're just getting into this now? And it's like, maybe he should have been a babyface the entire time, because then maybe we would have been behind this entire reign.
Yeah, and I think that it brings us to a point we'll probably discuss a little bit later, though. I think the Judgment Day has long passed its expiration date. And I think, initially when they first started, Priest, he makes sense as a heel, but there was something engaging about him last night. He had I'm not comparing him to Roman Reigns, because Reigns is on a different level, but there was a moment where things switched for Reigns. Unfortunately, it was around his cancer diagnosis, but that whole, when he came out as Joe Anoa'i, right? And then something about him, just absolutely changed the way he, delivered his promos. He was a lot more relaxed, and then he really just took it to a new level. Priest last night, had some shades of that, in the sense he looked fierce, he looked relaxed, he looked sort of in his element for the first time in God knows how long.
It's fascinating to me, because it's the whole thing where he says Priest is trash, the whole Judgment Day is trash, and then they don't live up to the expectations. They brawl, which again, it was great. And then the second they come back from commercial break, we got Jackie Redmond, and then we're trying to get a word, and then the brawl continues, which I love, because it made everything feel better, bigger. It was just wonderful. And I think it just makes so many things feel bigger, because, sometimes we're just confined to the wrestling ring and the ramp and the entrance. And then, we get the Jey Uso entrance, we get the backstage stuff. It just feels bigger. It feels like things are happening all the time. And I think that's a really cool point when you're watching wrestling, because for the longest time, it felt very static and very boxed in. And I like the whole world of it's a big fucking arena. It's a big fucking show. We should have fun. And now I feel like we're having fun.
Yeah. And I love that they got booted, because we got inundated, right, with Judgment Day throughout the entire broadcast thereafter. But the fact that you had those two guys have their moment, and then boom, it's it left you wanting more. right? And I think that's what you want in any good storytelling is you want to be left wanting more, not going, when the hell is this going to end?
The Joe Stopper chiming in saying the second scrap felt a little bit more organic and unscripted, which I tend to agree. I like it was funny when it happened. I was like, how long is this going to go? And it went longer than I expected, which I really enjoyed. And then to jump on kind of like just to marry those two, and I guess have a bridge here is the Sami Zayn promo with Kathy Kelly. They follow Sammy afterwards, and then there's a brawl with Judgment Day and Jey Uso, which again, stuff like that to me is always really important because that might be all the time that person gets, but it was still really important to what they were doing. So I love stuff like that. I mean, I love the matches and stuff too, but the stories and the characters are what keep me going every week. So when I see that shit, I'm in, and I don't fast forward anything.
Yeah, it's got to be done right though, because a lot of times in the past we've gotten segments like this, and it's been the dumb, catering segments where there's a forced food fight or some nonsense like that, or sometimes like I don't know. The production overall has been a lot better over the last several months, and these backstage brawls to me have felt like Joe said a little bit more organic, a little bit more unscripted. Like they go in with sort of like a loose game plan, and then they let the creative talent do what they're good at, be creative.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on. Anything else that you really enjoyed?
Oh geez, I mean, what not? I mean, there was a lot, right? I thought it was a really good 2 weeks. Andrade and Hayes.
Mm-hmm.
I love those two guys, and I very much want to see, one of them like this will kind of lead into like the LA Knight Logan Paul stuff. Like I know like LA Knight, like he's probably going to be the next champion. We don't like Paul is I hate Logan Paul, but he's so good at being a heel, right? And that's what you want, right? I hate every ounce of his being, but he doesn't need the belt, right? And so like I think having having LA Knight, take it from and then like get someone like an Andrade or a Carmella Hayes now in the mix for a title, like to move their way. Andrade doesn't need to be moved up the ladder because he's but like someone like Carmella Hayes, like that's a good first stepping stone for him. He's athletic. I think he'd do really well. But I liked a lot of these. What I like about SmackDown in general is only 2 hours. Raw is 3 fucking hours long, and I'm old, Nestle. And I can't handle this shit. So I had a lot of good shine from SmackDown, but that was one of them for me.
I was gonna say from 8 to 10 you had a lot of Raw, and then 10 to 11 not so much.
Yeah.
It's his bedtime. Your boy JC is in the house. He does say Doc doing it better than Nestle, styling and profiling. Yeah, there it is. It's just gang up on Nestle every goddamn week. So I will say this much. I really love the match between Mello and Andrade. It was fire. It was great. Go back and watch it. The only thing I was sitting there thinking, and you kind of alluded to it, but I feel like they are in kind of like no man's land right now. It's a match for nothing. It felt like there were no stakes. And for me, like, I'm just hoping that with Andrade, they have some type of purpose or direction for him, because Carmelo Hayes can kind of fall ass backwards into something and be fine. But right. I feel like Andrade, it's the second time around here. He kind of wasted some really good time in AEW. He's an amazing talent. I love him, but then what, right? Like there's no and then. It just feels like he's just treading water. And I worry about that because I feel like, JC was like, oh, I can see him winning the Money in the Bank. And I was like, really? I could never see him win Money in the Bank because it just doesn't make any sense to me, because I don't think the crowd has a connection to him one way or the other.
Yeah, see, I see. I also love Andrade, but I don't know what, like, where you're gonna take him, right? Because you've got Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn for the IC title, right? I mean, maybe he becomes Cody's next challenger, down the line. But like, is he really gonna jump all those? Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like, okay, he's there. He was tired of AEW. He wants to, sort of be on a nice cushy schedule in WWE with Charlotte, and he can just kind of do his thing, collect his money. And I don't know. I just don't. He's too good for some of these lesser belts. You either got to have a plan for him to go after one of the big boy belts, or I think he's just gonna kind of be there week in and week out, just doing his thing because he's Charlotte's husband.
Mm-hmm. So something I want to bring up on the Shine, which I thought was masterful and erotic at the same time, was Liv Morgan.
Oh, Oh, baby. She is one cheeky broad. Am I right? Right? Am I right?
Cheeky broad. I'm just gonna change the episode to cheeky broad and see how it goes.
So I mean, I've been loving this whole storyline. Although I will say it was great for Dom, right? And like when he said, I hate you, like it just like it made you hate him even more. But then like you've got that Liv crying there. Is it me or is that like take her character down a notch?
Well, I
Like,
think if I can interject, my thought when I watched that was like, so here's my logic: is it's a foregone conclusion in everybody's mind that Dom is picking Liv at SummerSlam, and I think they're just trying to keep us off the scent here.
yeah,
And so like her crying was good acting. It wasn't great acting. It was good.
yeah.
And it made me kind of chuckle because like someone like put out like a stat that showed like Liv Morgan professing her love 0 for 2. And I was just like, it's like, that's great. But it's true, right? But like the thing that I thought was wonderful was just, she does the whole like, Dom doesn't go for girls like you. She, they go for girls like me. And then she had the Britney ass cheek thing that she spun around and did the whole thing, in which I was like,
Great pair of jorts. Great pair of jorts.
I mean, at that point, why wear underwear, right? Like that's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I might be wearing those jorts right now.
Who wears jorts? Anyway, but no, look, I when I was watching it, I was like, this is a great segment. But then, so like when I saw her cry, I was like, okay, she's leading us down the hallway of like, this is the end of it. Forget about it. We'll have 1 week. I think this is crucial for me, right? Like as a fan, something has to happen next Monday before SummerSlam on the go home, where it just wears a little thin on Dom to be like, oh, okay. Like Mami does something, like maybe she acknowledges Jey Uso or says something about Jey, like just the most slight thing to do or say. It can be the most minuscule thing in the world, enough for Dom to go, well, fuck that. And then on Sunday or Saturday, pull the rug out from under Rhea and then we're off to the races, because I think that's what makes the most sense to me. Like we've seen what Mami and Dom can do. Like they've done everything they possibly can with that. I'd be really interested to see where Liv and Dom go with it, because I think Dom can help Liv get to the next level in terms of the crowd hating her. And I think that's what she needs, because right now she's really good. She could be really like one of the best of all time if she figures a lot of stuff out. But I think the thing is that a lot of people don't want to boo her because she looks like that.
You just made me change my hope, because the way I was looking at this, right, and the way I saw, I was like, I'm like, it makes her look weak because she's been so, I think, forceful, right, since she's come back and taken the title, and I'm seeing her cry, like it makes her look weak. But then if it is, if it goes the way they pull it off the way you discuss, then that's expert storytelling, and it just created a new hope. So I'm going to hold on to that. And
as he has the wrong one, Return of the Jedi, behind him, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, it's on purpose, of course. Come on, son.
Come on, son. Come on, son.
Come on, son. Come on, son.
That's for just us because no one else knows. But anyway, that's fine. But no, but I love the kissing and the licking and the whole. And you're sitting there like, this guy. I mean, how does he get into these storylines? I don't know. But like, just the whole, like, I was laughing when Finn Balor was like, I left you alone for 10 seconds, 10 fucking seconds, and there she is talking to you. Like, it's so great. It's so wonderful. And I just think there's a lot to do, and I will be interested to see what happens here. Oh, we got a huge Wang alert. Just wanted to let you know in the house.
Oh, huge Wang. Love huge Wang. Clip that.
Put it in there. I love huge Wang. It is what it is. And then the Who Wears Jorts is probably another one. Who wears jorts?
All right.
All right. Wang gang in the building. Yeah. So it is what it is. Dom is the modern day David Flair. Oof. I think he's a lot better than David Flair. David Flair can never get anybody's reaction. It is what it is.
I mean, that mustache alone gets reaction. You should grow a mustache like that.
Does Doc do Nestle better than... I'm going to leave this program. I'm just going to let him do the whole show by himself if you guys keep fucking laying into me like this. It's unfucking real.
Yeah, well, I mean, they speak the true.
No, listen, you got your boys in the fucking chat telling how great you fucking are, fucking blowing smoke up your ass.
I've been on this show twice, and I've already got more fans than you.
Well, that's
I
not
mean,
fair because that's just the truth. I it is what it is. I don't care about other people. That's what it is.
oh, please, 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 please. You care. You care deeply.
No,
I
I
know it
don't.
hurts you. It hurts. I see it
I'm
in
gonna
your
go
eyes.
live Morgan cry down the hallway is what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. Okay, and then turn on all your asses. It's fine. So anyway, let's get back on the fucking program here. Get on the rails because one huge wang came in.
Nestle's one cheeky broad, let me
Yeah,
tell you.
I would have made a sexy chick. Uh,
Well, you do kind of look like
Billie Jean. Yeah, yeah,
Billie
yeah.
Jean King.
Do you know that line? It would have made a sexy chick or no? From Mallrats? No. Okay, whatever.
Oh, it's been a dog's age since I've
Okay.
seen Mallrats.
All right. Anyway, so anything else that's positive in your neck of the woods there?
Let's see here. Well, the Wyatt Six.
Really?
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't know how it's all gonna play out, and I know there's been a lot of you've been engaging in a lot of back and forth on Twitter about like should he actually wrestle? How's it gonna look? How's he gonna pull it off? But I'll tell you what I liked. I liked the presentation, right? Because you kind of had the setup a little bit of Gable saying, "I can protect you." The Wyatt Six, they're out there, right? And while it was a little on the nose, I loved the presentation of it, and then he comes in and then the Sister Abigail, like you dropped it on. I don't know, like I was really pulled in on that moment. And for a brief second, they had me believing they might actually pull this off and they might, and if they sort of like, we've been getting the QR codes and the little like vignettes and stuff like that. And now if they just sort of like slow play it where you just have the Wyatt Six just, once a week, doesn't have to be on both, which once a week, just picking someone at random, picking them off like that, having a nice build. They could pull it off. I'm still skeptical. But I don't know. There's something about the presentation of it. Again, I talked about the production stuff that's been really on fire lately. I don't know. I like that. As a casual, wrestling fan, like okay, I bought into that at least for in that moment.
So let me ask you this then, as a casual observer of this and not a hardcore fan, do you want to see a wrestling match or would you want to see a cinematic match instead? Or is like when the bell rings that's gonna be the worst part of it for you?
See, I think if they can't overdo it, right? You don't want to beat a dead horse here. So I think what works best is this slow, sort of systematic, and then having that cinematic type match. Because I think that's the only way it can really work. I don't know, like even like Bray Wyatt, like is as great of a wrestler as he was, right? He wasn't the best champion, and a lot of the matches were, I think for me at times fell flat. But it was some of those cinematic matches that did, and if done right and produced right, I think is probably the way they have to go. Because if they go overkill and these guys get exposed in the ring and it falls flat, then you've ruined the whole thing.
I mean, I know that they're all thinking about it, and Guthrie's on me all the time. Well, you said you didn't want him to wrestle. You don't want him to wrestle. So like the thing is when I saw him show up, him being Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy with like, there you are, and gave him the Sister Abigail, I was like, okay, that looked like a mask he could wrestle in. I don't know if he will, but it looked like a mask that he could wrestle in. We even saw before one of the last Bray Wyatt matches with the pitch black with the fucking weird paint and in the mask. Like that's fine. I will concede what I said about them not wrestling if they keep the masks on in some, like there has to be a darker version of yourself when you're wrestling, because if you're just random people, like I feel like there's a difference there in terms of like, I don't want to see Bo Dallas. I don't want to see Eric Rowan because then it reminds me of what they were versus like show me something different physically and I'll be behind that because I'm willing to give that a shot. Yeah. But if I'm reminded of like, there's Joe Gacy, and it'd be like, I miss the fucking four branches, one tree. It's like, I miss that. I miss his fucking theme song. It's just like, there are certain things like Dexter Loomis. I wonder what Indy Hartwell's doing. Like that to me is why you need to do something in the presentation if they have to wrestle. I will be upset if they wrestle, but I think a cinematic match, like to me, one of my favorite things, not just of the COVID or pandemic Thunderdome era, was in general for me, like as a viewer, the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena was a meta This Is Your Life. I thought that was a masterful storytelling and just wonderfully done. So stuff like that, I'll get behind. If you want to go and do that with Chad Gable and have fucking Jason Jordan, because he's a producer, show up and they do it, the American, whatever they were, not Alpha Academy, but they were like Josh would know the fucking name of the tag team, but but like have them show up and then you have him be Shorty G for a second. Like you do all the shit that went wrong. You know what I mean? And like just all that, like you show him losing to Gunther over and over. Like you can do all sorts of shit. American Alpha, thank you. You can do all that shit with Chad Gable and it would work because you're systematically, psychologically killing somebody without actually hurting them. And that's what exactly the Fiend is. So I feel like we've gone, like, we can suspend disbelief. We've all loved The Undertaker and Kane and all these random fucking crazy things that have happened over the years. We're willing to suspend, but it has to be fucking good.
Well, that's the thing. It's real gimmicky, right? And so you've got to treat it as such, and you've got to produce it as such. This is not just, this is not Braun Breaker versus Dragunov. This is not a regular match, right? This is supernatural stuff. So in order to suspend disbelief, you got to really lay into the gimmicky stuff. And therefore, you've got to be sporadic with it. You've got to do it right. It's got to be cinematic type stuff. Because the moment the masks come off or the moment this just feels like any other ordinary match, it's over.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, too, is like I heard Triple H say, I can't wait to see what would it look like to have the Wyatt Six versus the Bloodline. I'm like, Jacob Fatu would kill them, all of them, because Jacob Fatu is a real fucking criminal. Like you can be a pretend psychopath, but in my head, I'm like, no, Jacob Fatu would motherfucking kill you. The end. Like, so for me, I'm looking at it like there is nobody on the Wyatt Six that I truly believe. Like Dexter Lumis is close to a fucking psycho, I guess, but like even then, he kind of looks like kind of a weird guy. That's it. But like, it's hard. It's hard because I feel like there's no real like threat in the Wyatt Six. Like collectively, they're cool. But there's not that one person when you're like, holy shit, this guy or this girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, that's why they've got to keep the mask. That's why they got to keep those creepy ass, vignettes, shit like that, right? Because that's the only way it works.
So what do you think of the Nikki Cross thing? Or I guess, well, they didn't say it was Nikki Cross because they didn't really, kind of showed her, but they shot it in a way where you knew it was her if you really knew.
Yeah.
But they didn't have her talk, and they just heard Uncle Howdy. It was very different from Rowan.
Yeah, it was creepy as shit, to be honest with you. And Violet was watching, and I had to like turn it off, right? Because like it was a little too much for her. But I liked it, and I don't know, it was probably just me, but I thought the way they did it was kind of cool too, because like it almost looked, because there was a lot of like quick images in there, and it was probably just a different angle of Nikki Cross, of the way they kind of edited it. But like for a split second, I thought I saw like Alexa Bliss in there, right? Which I was like, oh, but then like I went back and I rewound and watched again and go, oh, it's probably just Nikki Cross. I'm probably just seeing things there. But I liked it. Like I said, like this segment and what they did with it, for a brief moment, at least had me thinking they might pull this off, because I'm skeptical about a lot of stuff, and like I feel like, oh, they want to pay tribute to Bray, but Bray was like such a one of a kind, right? And only certain people can do that kind of stuff. And I don't know if Bo Dallas, has that in him, and maybe that's just my ignorance and not knowing enough about him as a wrestler, and than him and Bo leaving. Like I believe that I'm a better co-host than you are. But
Jesus.
So like. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna, like I said, they've got to keep it sweet and tight, or else this whole thing just.
Joe Pollock chiming in saying you want to hear from Rowan, but you didn't need to hear from Nikki, which I tend to understand based on losing Bray in real life. I get that. I do. It's just, again, we're getting to the nitty gritty of like, it's Rowan did his thing, Nikki did her thing, and then now it's down to Loomis and Gacy, and you're just like, well, Loomis didn't talk, so it'll probably be more like that. But Gacy can cut one hell of a promo. So it's weird to me. Like, it's fucking weird. I don't know.
But that's the thing too. Like I was talking about Damian Priest earlier, right? Like him on the mic and not so great. Like you just like let him kind of be in his attacky sort of angsty self, and he was great. Like Nikki Cross, I don't necessarily think she's great on the mic. So you don't need to have her on the mic. You can just have her look creepy as shit and have it be effective and have some narration, over the imagery there. I think it works.
All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. Is there anything else that you thought was super duper?
CM Punk.
Well, we didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I have been a staunch anti CM Punk. I've always thought he was just a fucking cry. Oh, sorry, I probably shouldn't swear.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
A crybaby, just a malcontent. Like I've never, and like there was a large gap where I didn't watch wrestling, so I never really saw CM Punk in his prime in WWE. But just the shit he pulled at AEW and all that stuff, like I was just like, I'm so out on this guy. But the what he's been doing, the mayhem he's caused, Drew McIntyre, has been excellent. And then him coming out last night, and maybe this was known, I wasn't aware of it, that he was cleared. And then, just everything around it, like I'm in. I don't know. He seems to me, again, from sort of like a casual observer, this time around, like, different from his AEW run. He seems like a different person. I don't know if he's more at peace with himself or where he is professionally and where he is with the company, but like he's been on fire. And I thought that whole segment was great. And and again, like Seth Rollins comes out, I'm like, oh, I don't fucking want Seth Rollins here, but like, and it's stupid fucking coat he was wearing. I mean, he's making you look like Versace, for Pete's sake. And but him as the referee, and now you've got like, so I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a dumb triple threat match. This is gonna be stupid. But having him be the referee, I thought was a great element to this. So like I love that, and like I'm all in right now on the whole Punk McIntyre thing. I think it's been fantastic.
So as a wrestling, I wouldn't say expert, but someone who's watched wrestling for 30 something years, immediately screamed, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a SummerSlam 97 where it's Bret Hart taking on The Undertaker for the WWE title, and Shawn Michaels is the referee, and and the ending is Shawn Michaels, as Bret spits in his face, Shawn Michaels goes to hit him, and he hits Undertaker instead, and he costs him the title.
Yeah,
I was sitting there thinking, like, to me, that's a foregone conclusion. I would book that ending here.
Yeah,
where Seth Rollins does something to somebody, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Drew McIntyre." Should be the one that I'm like, no.
You screw McIntyre
You screw McIntyre again. 100%. And now you go to McIntyre and Rollins for a while. So you can keep that. Because if McIntyre beats CM Punk, then we're done. We're done.
We're done. God damn it, Nestle. I don't want to agree with you. Stop.
See what happens when JC's not here?
Why of all nights you wait till I'm on to actually make good wrestling points?
Because I'm amazing.
Oh, I'm amazing. Yeah, you're lucky. You got a horseshoe stuck up your ass. But no, that would be excellent.
Right, because here's the thing. Let's just devil advocate play it, right? Let's say CM Punk loses the match, right? And McIntyre wins. Why would you have CM Punk and Rollins randomly in the fall? Like, to me, that is a WrestleMania match. You want to keep them as far away as fucking possible.
And it sort of negates all of the chicanery that Punk has been doing over the past several months.
Right.
Like, just have it come down to that. Like, no, like this has been this has been diabolical, on CM Punk's part. And so like, yeah. And just to see like McIntyre get screwed again, like, I don't know, like to me, that's just it's just beautiful. It's poetry, right? Like this is the guy that can't catch a break. Right. And, maybe down the road, he wins it again. Like, I love that he had his WrestleMania moment for like 3 seconds and then it was snatched away from him. And then he just keeps getting fucking beat over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. I mean, it says a lot about him, like, saying like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go along with all this shit. But I from a storytelling, and I just think it would be great just to see him get screwed over again.
And I only think, here's the thing, because Punk said, he goes, as long as I'm breathing, he will not be champion. And all I could think about was, they could play this for years, where every single time they could be on different shows, he just shows up and fucking costs them again. And I'm thinking to myself, the ending to this story is when CM Punk is champion, because it's inevitable that McIntyre is the one to take it off of him.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
That's the long game. Whether they've got it in them or not, we've seen how things can change, how quickly they can change, right? Especially with the Rock and the final boss and how all that came to be, because we all know that wasn't the original plan. So, shit can change on a dime, but that would be like just a master class in storytelling if they pulled that off. And it was something that like, culminated like 2 years, 3 years down the line or something like that.
Here's hoping. All right. Anything else that you enjoyed?
I got some heaty stuff.
Okay, we can get into the heat in a second. I just want to make sure in case there's anything else positive you want to talk about. But
Well, there's a few things. I mean, I could go on and on. I'm not gonna hold things back. I will say this: the Tiffy Time package, huge fan, huge fan,
huge fan of Tiffy.
Oh yeah, big big Tiffy guy.
Big Tiffy top. Love them Tiffies. I mean, well, you know what I mean. Anyway,
couch alert.
Yeah, it's over there.
Next to the washing machine.
Yeah, next to the washing machine. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, when she's stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I will go through some quick things real quick just to make sure I don't miss anything. So on SmackDown, I really did like Cody planting the seeds about Randy. That was great. It was whatever. He's calling you Shiny Gilmore. I don't know if that's Happy Gilmore reference or whatever, but Shiny Gilmore it is.
That's because I'm fucking blazing hot, baby.
Babe, yeah, you probably got AC down there or central air or something.
Oh no, no, not down here in the Beat Lab. That's a first and second floor thing. I'm actually sweating my nuts off.
Anyway, so I love that he's planting the seeds with Randy. It might be 400 years down the line, but he's my brother. I love him. I would not be champion without him. Like, I just thought that little nugget was great. It is what it is going forward. The other thing I thought was really interesting here, again, not really, we want to expound too much. You can stop me anytime if you want to talk about it, but we didn't really talk too much about the LA Knight and Logan Paul, but we already discussed it. I did like that he said Sean. I thought that was a nice little touch, called him by his real name, because that added a little bit of stuff. But I thought the ending to it was kind of awful in terms of like, your brother has balls, but you don't. Like, I just felt like he's smart enough to not fall for that. So it was kind of like to me, it was a clunky creative moment. I wasn't necessarily in love with it, but I'm excited to see what happens. I've never been an LA Knight match guy. I've been an LA Knight segment guy. You know what I mean? So I'm in for that. Moving on, I don't think there's anything else that we can talk about that I think is definitely shine worthy on SmackDown. We didn't get to talk about this, but we kind of did. Breaker versus Dragunov. What a fucking match that was.
Oh, that was a tremendous. I will say I wasn't a huge fan of how it ended, but the match itself was fantastic.
I will say I've seen a lot of shit. Like, and it's harder because like when I go to the independent shows and stuff and people are going over matches and, you see stuff and they're like trying to come up with things that have never happened before, you get exhausted trying to think of things that no one's ever done. I have never seen before the commercial break, the fucking, the suplex onto the turnbuckle like that inverted style. I was like, that was a nice little thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like the way they present Braun Breaker. I still hate his music, but I think the way he's presented is top notch. I think it's great. Dragunov has the whole aura about him, which again, I'm not a huge fan of him, but I can see the allure. I can see why he's valuable.
Yep.
I'm not going to go get a Dragunov shirt, but I mean, like, I can see, like, I get excited to watch an H-bomb hit, like, you know what I mean? And I hate forearms in general.
He's a great entrance guy. He's got a great entrance.
Right. But he can also, when the bell rings, and that's the thing, he's a complete person. I think his Achilles heel is the promo department, really, because he's too one-dimensional with it yet. I haven't seen the smorgasbord of talent in terms of the promo department. Braun Breaker, I think he's just going to keep on going. Like, he's great in the ring. He's going to even get better. With time with more veterans, he's going to learn, especially if he gets the IC title, which I have a feeling seems like a foregone conclusion here for SummerSlam.
I mean, if you're gonna give him the rematch for SummerSlam, you're not gonna have him lose twice,
right?
Back to back on PLEs as they call them now. But
yes.
And Sammy doesn't need it, right? Sammy again has attained a certain level now where it's nice that he's had it, over 100 days, whatever. Like, good, he's Sami Zayn is a character all onto his own. He is over, and so like. Passing the torch to Braun, I think, would be fantastic.
And also at the end of the night, we had the Jey Uso, Sami Zayn thing where, like, Braun inserted himself afterwards. So again, he was the last thing you saw on the show. So even though it's the IC title and it's a tag match, it's necessarily a throwaway. It felt like it wasn't bad. It was just like, but Braun Breaker is the last image you see. So I mean, he is going to be kind of, I wouldn't say shoved down our throats, but he is going to be a prominent figure going forward for the foreseeable future, whether you like it or not. And so you gotta, I mean, like, watching him spear people is great. Watching the ending, which, like you said, we could probably get him off my TV, get him off my TV, get him off my TV. This ending, whether it was real or not, I don't know. It felt like it was based on the way he landed. I think that this was just a way to have him lose without eating a pin or a submission.
Yeah.
And making him look great. But for me, it was just getting good. And that way it's a cheap way out. Cause I feel like it's like, it didn't really happen. It's like a DQ.
Yeah. It was a terrible ending to a great match. There was great build. There was great spots throughout it. But like, I don't know, like it did look clunky, like the way he hit his head, on the apron there. And even Megan was watching with me and she goes, "Is he really hurt?" I go, "No, I think if he was really hurt, they wouldn't like just have the camera on him like that for so long." And, but it did look like something might've gone a little askew. Cause like Braun, like had a look on his face, like what the fuck just happened kind of thing. But like, no, I hated that ending, just let him win, like nice, clean win. Like you want to go into your big title defense, you want to rack up some wins going into it, especially considering you just lost the last match you had with the guy. But then having him come out, and then like, I think it ended with the shot of his face and he's got that sort of menacing smile. So good build there, but yeah, that was a shit ending.
Do you think that Braun Breaker is like, you can see that the machine's behind him? He's the next, he's Cena, he's Roman, he's the next guy, or are you still waiting to wait and see?
No, I think he is, right? Because he was down, he had a good, I feel like he paid his dues down in NXT for a while. And I think they brought him up because they need it, right? They don't have a wrestler like him, right? That is, I think, menacing and can terrorize people like that. It does feel like the machine is behind him. The family lineage is there. The history is there. See how he does. I think his IC title run will really determine whether he's able to make it that next step or not. Because if he fails as the IC as a champion and has a shit run, that's going to set him back a bit. I would say.
That's an interesting point. Now I'll be very enticed to see what happens. The Joe Stopper saying it gives Dragunov a chance to claim that he belongs in the SummerSlam match. I don't agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, it's nice that there's a loophole, but I just don't see that happening here. Because I feel like Sammy needs to lose. Like he needs to definitively lose that thing, because it's kind of, I don't know, like I've just been after watching Sami Zayn win the tag titles at WrestleMania 39, he's still wildly popular, but it's just like, there's something about him where it's like, I know he's going to put on a good match. I know he's going to give me everything he's got. It's never bad, but there's no next thing. It's just there. I've never really looked at, like, the only thing I've been excited about with Sami Zayn was like, he's like, I'm no longer the underdog. I'm like, that took you too fucking long to say. Like, it's been like 3 years, dude. You haven't been the underdog for 3 fucking years. Like, I don't know. It's just, I take you seriously as a real world title contender. So I haven't seen you as an underdog in a very long time. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And he's too far down the pecking order to challenge for, one of the two main, big belts there too. So like, he doesn't need the belt. He doesn't need the IC belt, and he's doing all this other stuff on the side. Like he's due for like some time off, All
right, let's move on to other things that I thought were absolute dog shit. As we talked about on this program, the Fire Bitches, the tag team titles, just the women's division is just either up or down. I don't understand it. The Voodoo Ladies, the Unholy Union, I love them as a tag team, but they have gotten almost zero like wrestling time. They've been just kind of sitting there. They've been putting more interest in this whole Shayna and Zoe and Sonya threesome thing that they got going on there. And then, of course, we got the
Scissor Me Timbers. That's what I was thinking. You should have named the episode. There we go. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, the Scissors handshake was pretty good. Yeah. But no, like
Scissor Me Xerxes.
Yeah. It's so hard because I look at it and I'm just like, I should care. I really should care. But I don't care about any of it. And it's just like, they're all talented. I get it. Like Zoe's okay. Sonya's okay. Shayna's okay. Like Like they're okay. Like collectively okay, but like I don't believe. Like here's the thing. Maybe I have PTSD with damage control because in theory I love all of those women. But yet that faction was the drizzling shits from the moment it came on my screen. And so I had to sit and watch this shit. And now I feel like I have this whole thing about like any woman faction after that feels like less than damage control. And that's shit. I'm waiting for the moment to have a definitive woman's faction that I'm like, there it is. There it is. That's the one.
The factions feel lazy because I feel like we get all these women. We don't know what to do with them, right? And they have significantly less belts than the men do. So it's not like there's a bunch of single titles they can slap on these broads. So they sort of force them into factions. I love Sonya Deville. I've always been a fan of Sonya Deville. Love her entrance. I think Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler stink. And I get why the three of them are together, right? Because you've got that sort of MMA sort of background. And they all kind of share, like they're bruisers in that sense. But man, like they stink. Get them off my TV. Get them off my TV. Get them off my TV. Except for Sonya, she can say. Although JC pointed out to me, he's like, "Did you see them scissoring?" And I go, was this on Raw or was this on RedTube?" And he sent me a picture of the handshake, and I go, "Oh, that was actually the only decent thing the three of them have ever accomplished in the ring was that handshake." They were heaty for me for sure. Like, God, it just
and then like to add to it, it's like you have like this whole thing with Lyra, which again, JC said I cursed her, which I guess if you want to go buy tpublic.com/jobberknocker, any type of merchandise for the Nestle curse, go ahead and do it because I guess it's a real thing. My mother-in-law saw the shirt and she goes, that's that. I'm like, don't worry about it. I don't want to explain it to you. But it's just it's one of those things where it's just like I don't care about the three of those women, and I like the party girls. I think Chance and Carter are cool, but like I don't care. Once they lost those titles, they were irrelevant to me.
Yep.
They were cans, and then you bring in fucking Zelina Vega, which again, JC was like, big dub, Zelina Vega. I was like, what the fuck are you watching, JC? She beat Zoe Stark. And I know Guthrie's going to be up my ass about that, but Jesus Christ, like Zoe Stark is a fucking can. You know what I mean? Shayna Baszler has been treated like a can. It's just like, and Zelina Vega wins, which I get because she had three other women help her. Cans. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at it from a perspective
big fan of those cans.
I love Lyra. I think that's wonderful for her, but there's purgatory, there's hell. She might be in both somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's fantastic. And although you got to change her name, like Lyra Valkyria, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Just call it, I don't know, change it, tighten it up. Yeah, or Valkyrie or something, right? Like, the name's holding her back a little bit, and that shit matters, right? I think. With a lot of fans, but like she should be right up there near the top of the women's division. I think she's excellent. So yeah, I forgot where I was going to go there. I'm old, so
cans
that happens. Cans. Well, yeah, you distracted me with cans.
But, yeah, of course, that's what I do. Cans. It is what it is. But no, I think is like I just want. There's so much good women's wrestling out there, but for some reason, I'm watching it and I'm just like, what else? Like, what else you got? Because like even Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley technically don't need the title. Like,
right.
I mean, they do, I guess, for a certain sense of it, but like I'd still be interested without it. So I feel like we're just kind of like treading. And then you go to Bayley and Nia and Tiffany, which partial to it, I do like part of it, but like again, Bayley has been kind of an afterthought for me when I'm watching it.
She's not had a great reign as champion. Don't get me started on Nia, Jesus. But like you've got Cora Jade, you've got Bianca Belair. Like there was a period a few years ago where the women's division, right, was every bit as good as the men. They were co-headlining WrestleMania, right? When you had Charlotte in her prime, Becky in her prime, right? The whole, big time Becks and all of that. And I think they've got more and maybe even better women talent now. They can't find their friggin' footing with it and get the right people, in the right places or have the, like there's so much potential there. And if you ask me, it's too much fucking Judgment Day. It's too much Bloodline. They dominate, the screen, and that takes away, I think, from their ability sometimes to, maybe put, the women at more of a forefront, or some of these tag divisions at more of the forefront.
So just curious, anything that you found that was very upsetting?
Geez. There's a 6-man tag. Raw's just too damn long. But I just alluded to it for a second ago. I am tired of the Judgment Day. I break them up. It's time, right? And I think it's coming. This is a little bipolar take, because I love the Bloodline in the sense, like, the characters are great, but I'm tired of the Bloodline. They've been main event status for 3 years, 4 years, right? Like, it's like, I'm done. Like, Sikoa is fine, but I don't love him. Like, he was better when he was just a quiet, sort of menacing, brute that would, was essentially just Roman's attack dog. Like, there's an element to the Bloodline that, like, yeah, they're to be feared, right? And they've got a lot of good parts. So I'm just tired. I'm just tired of seeing the Bloodline in almost every bloody segment that goes on. And pass the torch to someone else, for Pete's sake.
I don't disagree. I feel like we're not headed anywhere. I still think Solo Sikoa needs to win against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but it's the only way to elevate Solo to be even remotely in the neighborhood.
And why do we have to elevate Solo? Why?
Because he has to go up against Roman Reigns at some point.
Oh,
you're not gonna believe that Solo's even in the same fucking stratosphere as a Roman. Roman Reigns should eat him alive right now.
Yeah. I just don't care about Solo. That's all. And that might be a me thing. I'm tired of the Bloodline. I don't care. I don't ever need to see that match between those two. And I get it. Like, okay, it's the Bloodline. It's this big thing. Like, Roman's, but like, Roman can come back and do whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't need the Bloodline, right? And he's still going to be, the big dog, right? I don't know. It's just me. I'm a cranky old man, but I am sick and freaking tired of the Bloodline.
Let me ask you this then. Are you interested in the Bloodline versus Bloodline War Games if it happens? Or like some type of big match?
No, I couldn't care less, to be honest with you. I just don't need it. Like, it's been, Bloodline has been, a main event of almost every, pay-per-view, like I said, for the past 4 years. Like, once Roman lost, to me, that was the end of the Bloodline. I don't need it beyond that. That's just me.
Okay. I'm sure you're not alone in thinking that, but I just think that Roman has a lot more business left to do with this Bloodline. So seems like we're headed all the way till at least WrestleMania with some type of thing with The Rock. I don't know. It's just,
yeah, it's anything. I don't need The Rock either. I love The Rock. I was the biggest Rock fan in the world, but like, he did the final boss thing. That was great. Like, I don't need Bloodline shit anymore. Give me something else. Give me something fresh.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Anything else that's heaty here? Anything else? Well,
Chelsea getting squashed. Didn't like that.
Well, I think Chelsea's one of those things where it's like, I bet they had to put Belair and Jade on TV. It is what it is. And here's the thing about Chelsea. As much as she's technically just kind of enhancement talent, she's so much more than that. Because she'll find she's so good at losing and still coming up looking great. And I think there are people out there that be like, I don't want to lose. It's like, it's fucking predetermined. Like, who cares? Like, it's a fucking show, folks. Like, some people are fucking the heroes and some people are the villains, and the villains normally lose over time. She's so good at so many things. So I don't have a problem with her losing in a jobber alert like that. I mean, obviously it would be great if she didn't, but another thing is like Jade and Bianca. I love them. Obviously they're stars, but like, we are treading water with these women, in my opinion. And it's just like, WrestleMania is so far away. It's like 9 months away. Like, how are we going to care about them for 9 months? We're not. Once Rumble's here, sure, dump her out at the Rumble and Jade can flex, and then they have a fucking match at Mania and everybody will love it. It's fine. But until then,
Quick question for you: who's the better enhancement talent, Chelsea Green or Daniel Bryan?
Ooh,
Huh? Huh?
wow.
I think I take Chelsea over Daniel Bryan. Just
Wow.
saying. Just saying. Does he
So
stink? Yes.
you're
Yes. Yes.
you're under the umbrella of that Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson is a jag.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, big time, Jack, big time. I mean, I'll tell you, it's one thing to be enhancement talent, right? That's like, okay, you're a jobber. That's pretty low. When you're enhancement talent on AEW, that's real low. I mean, if you're enhancement talent over there, you're not going anywhere. Let me tell you something.
I think he's done everything he can do, so he doesn't feel the need to be champion. So this is his last run. He is going to Wembley. He is going to face Swerve most likely, which is again going to be a good match. But for me, I've looked at it like I wouldn't say he's a jag. I just feel like I've watched his entire run from ROH till now, and I just think to myself, he's lucky he got his career back. He's had a lot of fun, but there's no substance to it, and I don't really see him as a credible threat to win the championship. So I'm just thinking here going, great, just keep him under the umbrella of you're in the dream match category. Get him all the dream matches he wants, have his fucking wrestling, and we'll be done with it. You know what I mean? And have a big send-off, a big kiss goodbye, and that'll be it.
Yeah. Overrated enhancement talent.
I'm
Boom.
sure a lot of AEW fans are coming for your head. That's all.
Well, let them. I'm following in the footsteps of the GOAT. JC was a brave soul, who was, he spoke his truth, and you know what? I respect it. And yeah, I praise it. My daughter's here distracting me. So
It's summer. Who cares? That's adorable. Oh man, that's
want to
great.
come say hi, kiddo? No. Oh, I hurt her feelings. I embarrassed her. I'm sorry, kiddo. I love you very much.
Oh man, putting out it all everything. Okay, she's mad at you. I'm mad at you. That's why.
Yeah. Happens. It's not the first time I've screwed up.
You got two women in the house that probably hate your guts, and now you got me, so it's fine. You gotta
I got three women mad at me now.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, should we?
Airline's creeping back too, I see.
Oh, brother. No, what are you talking about? It's right there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's not creeping.
It's fine. TLC. It's creeping.
All right. Anyway, I'm sure there's other things we could talk about here, but I think we've exhausted a lot of options here. Let's get hopeful. We get hopeful?
Let's get hopeful. So,
okay, go ahead.
I'm going to share my original hope, and then I'm going to share my updated hope. So, my original hope was, I want, for SummerSlam, right? This is obvious, right? I want Nia Jax to beat the absolute piss out of Bayley, and then Tiffy comes in, turns on Nia, bang, uses the Money in the Bank, cashes the belt, right? But that's pretty basic, bitch. That's pretty pedestrian. I think that's what's going to happen. But as we were discussing, and you were talking about the Liv stuff, and how you think it's like, oh, it's inevitably going to be that Dom turns on Rhea and sides with Liv. Well, I think that's excellent. I think an added wrinkle to that, which would be excellent, is that Dom turns on Rhea, helps Liv retain the title, and then Liv kicks Dom to the curb. So now he's out both ladies. She keeps her belt, and now Dom is still, a worthless piece of, poop. And he's got talk about having ladies mad at you. I sympathize. But I actually think that'd be really good storytelling. They're like, finish that off, cap that off, and he gets spurned by both women. That would be some good just desserts.
All right, my hope is going to make Guthrie's head spin. You ready for this?
Oh, let's hear it.
So he loves himself some Karrion Kross in the AOP, which I find.
Oh yeah, Heedy.
Yeah, I do not like them at all. I am interested in this Woods storyline. It's a C or D feud, maybe an F feud, but like all I kept thinking about, and this is just a hot take. Maybe it could be a cold take. I don't know, but I think the New Day has completely run its course. I appreciate what they've done. They're one of the best tag teams ever to do it. They're just a merchandise machine, whatever. But the last like 2 years, I feel like they've been just kind of there.
I mean, ever since Big E went down.
Yeah,
right?
it's just it's bad, right? So for me, I look at it like this. You have a match. This is it, right? Because they keep saying that Cross wants Woods. Cross wants Woods. They're going to have a match next week, whatever. But here's my thought process. Let's just have a match where Kofi and Woods have a match against, let's say, Cross or AOP or whatever the case is. And the losers, if they lose, have to join Cross's Final Testament. I want to see what New Day looks like in a world of darkness and black and like just ominous, and like begrudgingly part of this, because it would give me something new to watch the New Day. How positive can you be in a negative world like that, with AOP beating up people and Cross being like menacing, supposedly? Like, at least it would give something into the faction where I'm like, okay. And then here's the coup de grace for me would be, if this is a hypothetical cross your fingers thing, right? You get to a point where it's like, it's almost like Daniel Bryan and the Wyatts, right? Like, you knew he didn't fit, but he kind of was along for the ride anyway. And then all it is the New Day turns back on the Final Testament, and then Big E comes back, even the odds, and you get the reunited New Day. You'll get new merchandise. Everybody's going to fucking go gangbusters for Big E. Big E can come back and put them back together. They have the I hate 6-man tags, but at least this point would be a fucking big deal. And you get that moment of like, everybody's back together, hurrah, get some fucking money and let's go. But I think that's what you need. You need something with the New Day, because they've been fucking boring and they're great talents. But after Kofi Mania, after Big E won, it just feels like, what else? Like, there's literally nothing they can do now. They're just there. And at least having them with Final Testament would make me go, it's interesting. It's different from what the New Day is. It's the exact opposite. So that'd be my hope. They lose a match and they have to join the Final Testament.
I need emo New Day as much as I need you on this program.
Wow.
Right. No, I don't want that. No, no, not one bit. I think what New Day, like, Big E's not coming back. Right. But I think like he's done some like pre-show stuff. Get him in that type of role, right? Like make him a personality that's either, that's doing the pregame stuff or the pre-show stuff, like, because he's excellent. He's a great personality. Kofi is the only guy there really that like I could see just continue on, kind of adapt a new persona and go on as a singles wrestler and all that. And with Woods, right? Like, their greatest strength right now is sort of what they do for wrestling outside of wrestling. The stuff with, the up, down, down, and, they can just be mouthpieces, and they can do, just side stuff without actually being in the ring. Like, New Day had a great run, but like, it's come and gone. I don't need to see New Day ever again. And I don't want to, especially don't want to see, them moping around like the goth kids from South Park, on my screen.
Not even for a couple of weeks.
No, I think it would just like, it'd be an eye roll every time they came out. Because it just wouldn't be believable, and I think it would just be silly. But like, put them in roles where they can really, like I said, like, whether it's commentating, whether it's pre-show stuff, whether it's, vignettes or hosting of whatever it might be. Like, their greatest skill is entertainers, with Kofi being the best wrestler in the bunch, with, Big E not being able to wrestle. So, yeah, that was a dumb hope, Nestle. I got to tell you.
I don't fucking care if you think it's a dumb hope. I think it's a great hope. It is what it is.
Someone's got to let you know when you.
Well, yeah. Well, people will let me know no matter what. It's fine. I get plenty of hate on the internet. I do not care. I sleep just fine. So look, I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna give my comeback out, because it's don't call it a comeback. He's been here for a while, but I think this guy was the MVP of Monday Night Raw last week, or sorry, I guess yesterday, depending on when you listen. Finn Balor planting the fucking seeds here. Finn Balor's been kind of back seeding it for a very long time. We've got the Rhea Ripleys and the Damian Priest going, who's the leader? We don't have a leader, nonsense, yada, yada. But you can see week after week, he's getting more frustrated, but he had like just a couple of little things there this week where he was telling Dom, like, don't listen to them. You know what you need to fucking do. Like, playing the devil's advocate, being like, I'm puffing out my chest. I'm doing my thing. And if Priest becomes the inevitable babyface, Priest with with no title against, maybe the Demon or some type of different Finn Balor, I'm okay with. I think Finn's awesome. So I think having JD and maybe Dom or even Carlito as part of his gang would be kind of interesting to see where that takes. But I think just the way that he worked himself into those little promos, whether it was backstage or beating people up or just even in the main event, he did a great job just kind of asserting himself. And I think that's a huge character development point for him because he hasn't really done much in terms of what he's been doing with the Judgment Day. And now I feel like, okay, when this all has a giant crack and schisms off and breaks off and everybody goes their own way, I think Finn Balor is going to be the most interesting person to watch going forward because we know Rhea Ripley is going to be a fucking stud going forward no matter what she does. Damian Priest is iffy. Dom will always get heat. But Finn Balor, we just know when he breaks out and he's the guy, he always has good matches. He always has entertainment value to him. So it was a great reminder to me to be like, oh yeah, like he can fucking go and he can do anything he wants to do. It was just a great reminder of how hard he can work and what he can do.
Yeah, and I think this was I mentioned earlier, like the best part about Priest and Gunther being kicked off Raw is that it allowed Balor to really take that leadership role, and it was great. Like with him and Dom in the hallway, and he sees Liv, and he's like, just the look on his face. Like we said this earlier with Priest, like this is the best Priest has looked, right, as champion, and maybe period. This is the best that Finn has looked to me, I think, since joining the Judgment Day. Because like he's he went from a character that I loved, right, and a wrestler that I loved, to then like I really fell off the Balor bandwagon because I just didn't ever buy him, like just his mannerisms, and like there was something about him that, like, again, he was doing that because he was trying to be a heel and getting you to hate him, and it worked. But like he took charge, right, and I thought that that moment with him and Rhea where he's like, I've got us this, and this today. And she's like, what are you doing? This is what I said, and like she had a real issue with him. Like, this is perfect. We're setting the stage for the inevitable breakup. And I was thinking to myself, how awesome is it going to be to get a Demon Balor versus Damian Priest match, or whether he's the heel, whether he's the face, whatever it might be, like having him go back out on his own, readapt who he was before all of this. I think we're getting that. We're getting back to the Finn Balor that I love. He really looked comfortable and in his element.
And something we could talk, we usually say it at the end here, but we're talking about Finn, so we might as well say it here. Finn Balor in that promo said, you know what, not only are we going to face these guys and beat up, Jey Uso tonight, but I'm going to beat up Gunther next week. And I was just like, Gunther versus Finn Balor. Like, and we know that Gunther's going to win. There's going to be some fucking back and forth with Priest and everything's going to happen. I'm sure it'll be a DQ at some point or some type of something. And Finn will get pissed. But like, that's what you need. You need to be able to insert yourself in that way. And it's like, I assume it's the main event. I'm looking forward to it as the go home. But man, it's so fun because that's what Finn Balor is all about. Like, I believe Finn Balor versus Gunther is going to be a good match, and it's a believable match because Finn Balor carries himself. He's a smaller dude, but he carries himself in a heavyweight division, and I believe it. So I'm just happy to see these things happen for him.
Yeah, and I'd love to see him get back in the world title mix because I think he's that good. Mm-hmm. I've always been a big Balor guy, a big Balor guy. He's another entrance guy, but I'd like to see him get back to his old entrance and all that. Like, give me old Balor. Give me abs and package Balor. Like, get him back in them short shorts. Like him in long tights stinks.
All right, so you have your comeback.
Yeah. Zelina Vega, baby. Zelina Vega, baby. She just comes in there balling it, shot calling. She's out there kicking ass, taking names. I loved it. I'm all in. Suck it, Nestle.
She's a can. She's a fucking can. I don't care.
No way. She beat your girl. She went out there. She beat your girl. That's what she did.
She is not my girl. She is not my girl.
She wiped the mat with her.
It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this. When Zelina Vega's on your TV, do you actually think she's going to win a title?
Every damn time.
You're full of shit. You are so full of shit. You are so full. That's why you're wearing shades. That's how I know you're full of shit. That's how I know you're full of shit. You have when she's on your television, you only watch for one reason.
Yeah, I'm expecting dominance.
No, it's because you're Al Bundying it when you're watching her. That's why. That's what you're doing. You get your fucking hand down your pants.
You don't know me.
I don't know you. Come on. You don't think she's a good wrestler. You don't
Oh,
think
she's
anything.
tremendous. She was
No,
out there.
she's not.
That was the
Stop it.
best she's looked. It was
Stop.
fantastic.
You're just gaslighting me. That's all you're doing. JC Playbook. You guys had a fucking discussion on your stupid little backcracker every fucking Wednesday, and you're like, "This is how you get Nessel riled up. This is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do." And you two sit there like two little fucking students in the fucking making fun of shit, talking shit about me. I know it. I know it. You guys sitting there fucking plotting against me. I get it.
And it worked. Look at you.
I hate both of you so much because it is you guys are irrelevant when it comes to fucking stuff like this.
Your ratings are gonna go through the roof because I'm on here. Who's irrelevant? You.
No.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, let's get to the big old finish since we kind of blew our load with the Gunther and the stuff. We didn't get to talk about a lot of different things. So AEW transpired. You're not an AEW guy. I am curious. You are a casual. I guess you labeled yourself a casual, so I'm not really demeaning you in any way when I say that. Have you ever watched AEW?
I mean, it's been a hot minute since I've watched, and that's just mostly because, as you have kids, the end of the day, you're fucking tired, and I fall asleep early sometimes. So there's a lot to watch, between, so it's just like you can't watch everything, Nestle.
That's fine.
So like I used to when AEW first came out, and for a while there, I was in, but I don't know. It's just not great.
So as a casual, like, what would it take for you to watch AEW?
Well, I think, like, I remember when, like, I bitched about Punk on AEW, but when he made his return, I was in. I popped like a son of a bitch for that. Like, that was great. I don't know. I need some buzz. I need some good viral clips. I need something to be like, oh shit, like they're cooking with gas. Yeah, they got something, right? Like, I was the biggest Jericho fan. That guy, like, I don't need to see him wrestle anymore. Holy smokes, he just doesn't belong in the ring anymore. Like, I love MJF. I think he's probably the best thing they've got right now. But like their entire promotion's one guy, right? Like, where again, casual, so maybe I'm ignorant to it, but like, who's the big guy that came over there from New Japan, like when they first started, the big superstar guy,
Okada?
No,
Omega,
right?
Yeah.
Like Omega was a big deal for a while, and I feel like, I don't know what's going on with him, but like, I feel like there's no buzz with AEW. I have no real incentive to want to watch.
That's fair. So as you say that, I'm going to run down everything that happens on Wednesday. You let me know how you feel. We're going to hear from MJF because he just won the international title after a 60-minute match. Now, that's the thing I want to talk about.
That's the other thing real quick. Aren't there like 1,000 belts in AEW? Because they're so everyone's got a trophy. Why do I care?
So here's the other thing too. So MJF and Ospreay had a great match last Wednesday. Some people are saying it's the best match in AEW history. I think it's a good match. I don't think it's the greatest match I've ever seen. I like the ending of being used in the ring and then winning and cheaply getting the championship. I still think it's this is me, right? If I had to put on the booking hat here and use the pencil, I think we're getting Danny Garcia versus MJF for the international title at Wembley, and we're getting Swerve's going to go against Daniel Bryan. So then that would leave Will Ospreay versus Ricochet, which is going to be a gymnastical fucking masterpiece. We know that. So I think that's
your flippy dippies.
I do every once in a while. It's not ballet, as Josh would say, but he hates when I say Josh. But anyway,
who the fuck is Josh?
Who the fuck is Josh? Other thing is Mariah May. Now, you may have not. You talked about viral. Did you see what happened with Mariah May and Tony Storm and that whole thing?
No. Oh, I will say I do love Tony Storm. That's been excellent. But no, I did not see that. Was there?
So what happened was Mariah May was her protege. She won the Owen Hart Championship tournament. She is now going to face Tony Storm, and she turned directly on her in a bloody mess. I've never seen women get this bloody in my life, and took a high heel shoe and stabbed her in the forehead a bunch. It was something cinematic. Go back and watch it. I think it'll turn you on in a wrestling way, not necessarily the other way. But who knows what your pleasure is like? But that's fine. I think Mariah May is on her up uptick here, and that I think that they're making a star out of Mariah May because she is a star. What they do with it, I don't know. I think Tony Storm's been doing great work, but who the hell knows? Also, we have Chris Jericho, as you talked about, Snorefest against Suzuki for the FTW Championship. I'm assuming that does nothing for you.
Nope.
Okay, moving on. We also have Dr. Britt Baker returning, her first match back since being gone for at least a year and a half after injuries and a mini stroke, supposedly, against Sheeta, which, again, I love me some Sheeta, so she's great. It seems weird to me that they're treating Sheeta like a tomato can because she was a former women's champion. I assume Mercedes Moné, will end up doing something at the end of this. And of course, the real reason to tune in on Wednesday supposedly is Blood and Guts, War Games, 2 rings with a cage. Will you tune in for that? Wow. Okay, so 2 rings in a cage, 5-on-5, elite versus all these guys you don't care.
I don't know. I mean, haven't we been there with the 2 cages?
Right? Yeah, I'm just curious. They do it every year, so I just, I just wanted to know what you felt.
You know what? You've piqued my interest. I may give it a gander. We'll see.
It's at the end of the night, though, so the back half would be 9 to 10 o'clock, probably a whole hour.
I'll have to record it. It's going to be a whole thing. I don't know.
The backcracker has to fall asleep by 9 o'clock, or he turns into a pumpkin. It's okay.
You know what? Look at this. This is my body's a temple. I got to keep it in good shape.
I mean, you sleep on the couch periodically anyway, so just stay up late.
No, you can't sleep on the couch. I'm a fucking chiropractor. You can't sleep on the couch.
No, I'm saying your wife hates you and makes you sleep on the couch. That's all.
No. I never sleep on. Come on, son. I don't know how it's done in your household, but Papa Bear still sleeps in the bed. All right,
Papa Bear. No, if she saw you call yourself Papa Bear, I'm sure she'd puke a little. You're disgusting. Anyway, I think we've exhausted all of our options. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap this shit up?
Despite having to look at your mug for an hour plus, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me back on, Nestle. I can't wait to see the ratings spike. And I know that I will inevitably be your replacement, and this will be the Doc and JC show. And we'll take the show to new heights.
Don't you already? So let everybody know the other podcasts where to find you, because you do a lot of good stuff.
You can find me on the TLDR podcast at TLDR_pod, where I and my partner Nick Fryer we talk comic books and we interview top creators, in the industry. We have a lot of fun there. I didn't want to come on someone else's show and shamelessly.
No, you can. I love you. I love your stuff, and I love the people you work with, so it's fine.
I appreciate that. And I also do a podcast with TV's own Billy Delaney. I've heard it both ways, where we discuss Psych, the great USA program Psych, which we have turned you on to. We actually had you on to do our season 6 breakdown, which was a lot of fun, and we'll probably have you on again. So you can find us there wherever you listen to your podcasts. And thank you again for having me on.
No problem, Doc. I hope you won't see JC tomorrow. You'll be heartbroken. I don't know what you're going to do without him.
I'm not going to eat because I won't be able to pay my bills because he's out gallivanting in Colorado.
Maybe you should get yourself a back cracking appointment for yourself, considering how much work you had to do this Thursday.
I got to tell you, I'm hurting. I'm not going to lie.
On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with some more Jobber Knockery.